here's our ball of clay. And this clay is actually very, very well made, and there's no air bubbles in it, so you don't have to do any of the kneading or wedging to get it ready. You can use it right out of the package. And we're going to roll that ball of clay into a coil. And then we're going to take the bottom part of our hand here, and we're just going to kind of pound, and we want to keep flipping so that we don't get the clay stuck on the paper. You can see here I've got some nice brown paper. You could use newspaper for this also if you don't have anything else, but the clay will stick to a regular table surface. But you want to keep pounding and flipping. When you get that slab to about 1/8 of an inch thick, that's when we want to bring our can in. And we want to set our can so that you can see the line, and then roll the can until the line comes back and touches the clay. And that tells us that we're getting in the area that we need for making the cup. Try and make the walls of the cup and the bottom of the cup from one piece of clay. So we're going to try and use every bit of the clay that we have to make the cup. And I like doing them like this because when you just use the kind of the bottom part of your hand, you get this really nice texture in the cup that you don't get when you use something like a rolling pin. And we'll make one with a rolling pin here in a couple of seconds, so you see that. But this way, the cup has kind of a built-in texture so that it doesn't slip. So I'm going to use something that I can find as a straight edge, and just kind of clean up that edge. And you see I'm using that stick as a knife. Knives are not bad, but sometimes they can just be a little too sharp for these processes. So a nice dull stick or number 2 pencil works real well. And so you can see now I have that smooth edge there. And I take this can again and roll it to make sure that I have enough room there. And I'm going to go over about 1/2 an inch. So if you see, when I did this rolling, and I'll do that again, okay, it came to right there. And then I want to come over a little more because I need a little bit of flare off that. Okay, so now you can see, because that clay has been there for so long, that it's gotten the paper wet. So we have to make sure that we move the clay to a drier area. Now this piece here is going to be our bottom. So we want to kind of pound that out a little bit. We want to use this part of our hand and just, it's not a hitting, it's just a bouncing. You don't want to use a lot of force, you just kind of want to let the gravity drop. And it should be a little bit bigger than the bottom of that cup because this is the thing that we're actually going to use to make the cup with. So now I might want to put some extra texture on there. So I'm going to roll out some coils, and all this is the stuff that was left over from when I was making the cup. So I'm just going to make some little kind of stems, branches. And then I'm going to try something like this. I have this little plastic knife here. Maybe I can just make some lines on there. Anything I can use to get some extra texture in there. because I want to try and make it so that the surface isn't necessarily incredibly clean. And so I'm just going to lay these on, and I can do really anything with them because I'm going to do a neat little trick here with them. And so you could write a name or make letter forms in here. And this clay is really, really well made, so it's going to, you can, if you don't like what you're doing, you can take it, pound it back together again and do it again, maybe 1 or 2 times. So now I'm just gonna lay this over like this, and then I can take this and pick it up and drop it. And then I can pick it up and drop it again. And you see, every time that I do that, it's getting these lines in here that are getting smashed in. And now the nice thing is that you could use the cup this way, which I kind of did here on this one, where they're embedded in and you can actually see that little coil, or I could actually make the cup like this and then they would be softer. And so there's 2 different ways we can do that. So I'm kind of liking this right now. And so we'll do it that way. And then I have my newspaper, and I'm going to take the newspaper and you fold it, and then you get about 1/4 of the newspaper. You want to make sure that you tear that carefully, and it should be long enough that you can wrap the cup in the newspaper and then have it kind of fold over, but you want the bottom of the paper to not be covered up. You don't want any of this going underneath the cup. It's got to be right there on the edge. So then, take that and flip that over, and then I'm just going to roll it right up onto the cup, and then roll it back over onto itself, and then just kind of smash it a little bit back and forth. And what that does is it joins these pieces together. So it marries those 2 corners so that the cylinder is actually attached now. And in essence, you've got that hollow tube now. So the cup, which had no structure before, now has structure. So then I'm going to take the bottom, I'm going to lay that on there like this, and I want to be able to make sure that the whole circumference of the cup there has got clay, so there can't be any part of it that's not covered. And then I'm going to trim away just a little bit of the extra there. I don't want to trim away all of it because I want some of that to come up on the side of the cup. So take that, and then I kind of give it a little wiggle so that the bottom sticks to it. And then I'm going to take my hand like this and just roll it. Roll it up in there a little bit until it kind of cups the bottom of the cup. And then I'm going to roll it. Roll it. Roll it. And eventually I can kind of put it down on its side. And what I'm doing is I'm rolling the bottom of the cup up onto the cup. And so it's coming over. It's folding over the top of that wall and sealing it so that there won't be any hole in the bottom. And then this is kind of the magic part of that all. Take the tin can out, take the paper, and you've got your cup. And so you see the bottom there, and it's done.